Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. I'm Chris Hansen tonight from New York City as we continue our investigation into Dahvie Vanity, aka Jesus Torres, the former frontman of Blood on the Dance Floor, as he faces continued investigations on many fronts involving inappropriate sexual contact, sexual assault with underage women, literally across the world. And as we talk to you tonight, there are many, many developments, both from the investigative side and from the side of the many survivors who have come forward. Another tonight, speaking out for the first time on this show. We'll call her Winter. We know her real name. She's asked that we not disclose that. You'll also see that Winter is wearing a mask tonight, which is not unusual in these COVID-19 pandemic days, but she is protecting her identity. Understandably, she has been cooperating with law enforcement, and that will continue. And we're very fortunate to have her tonight on this show to tell her brave story. Winter, thank you so much for being with us.
Hi, Chris.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
This has been a long, torturous, painful road for you.
Yes.
And thank you, first of all, from the bottom of my heart. Let me preface this by saying a couple of things. One, and I think you know this because you've had time to think about it and talk to professionals about it, but this is not your fault. The situation you got lulled into here, talked into, coached into, groomed into, is the work of a very practiced predator, Dahvie Vanity, who knows very well how to prey on the most vulnerable young women in the most, well, effective way, I guess you could say. Take me back to the beginning, Winter. How did Dahvie Vanity first get on your radar?
Well, me and my mother had attended a show. This show was on October 8th, and it took place at Webster Hall in New York City. We had originally just gotten regular tickets, and we saw the chance that we could upgrade our tickets to VIP. So,
and how old were you at this time, Winter? How old were you when you went to the show?
When I went to that show, I was 15 years old.
Okay.
I had recently turned 15.
Got it. And you're with your mom.
Yes.
And you get a chance to upgrade into what, the VIP section?
Yes. We upgraded into the meet and greet.
And how did that come about? How did you get that opportunity?
My mother had seen it. He had posted on his story a link to upgrade your tickets last minute. And my mom was like, why don't we just do it? We can, like, it wasn't much of a difference in money. And she seemed like fun at the time, she said.
And who was the bigger fan? Was it you or your mom?
My mom didn't really listen to them. Maybe just like me playing it in the background. I had listened to them earlier when I was around 12, and not really appropriate music at the time.
Right.
But I listened to them. I started listening to them when I was around 12, and basically this was, I kind of had stopped listening to them for a while. I had like lost interest, but when they broke up, I kind of started listening to more of Dahvie's music, just what he started making by himself, called Sinners or Winners. And that kind of got me reinterested a little bit.
You get to the meet and greet. How does it go?
Well, at first we weren't able to get into the door. So we ended up waiting online for a little bit. And then we finally were able to get in because we showed them that we had VIP tickets. And then we finally got in. We were very late, but there was still a line. So we waited online. We were at the back of the line. And I started, maybe it was just something, but he started looking over at me making like glances at the corner of his eye, kind of like back and forth. I could just see.
Looking back, was he hitting on you, do you think?
I don't think that was the case. I think that maybe he just saw me and like, well, I mean, like I look pretty different than the rest of everybody, but I had bright green hair. It kind of stood out. Maybe that was it at the time. I'm not sure. But I don't think that really felt like he was hitting on me. If anything, it kind of just was really strange. I felt like his eyes were on me. But we ended up getting to meet him. I'm a very shy and meek person. I don't really like to talk and meet new people. So I really wasn't saying much. I kind of just said, "Oh, wow, it's great to meet you." And then my mom, I don't know why, but she said that day was my birthday. So I'm not sure why she said that. I think it was to get, like maybe she thought he would give us like a free T-shirt or something. But
some sort of special treatment or a piece of swag or something innocent enough.
Yeah, nothing. I don't think she anticipated what happened next. He invited us out to get pizza. And like, he said, "Oh, well, I'll buy you guys pizza. Have like it's your birthday. Come on." And then like my mom was asking me if I wanted to do it, and I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" It's like he's famous. Like this is probably not gonna happen again. So he says, "Okay, great. Like once I'm done here taking pictures with people, let me just like I'll meet you guys at the front entrance." We wait. He's done. We meet him. We start walking, and we ended up going to this. It was like a little pizza place.
Now, is this before the show or after the show, or how does this work?
This is before the show.
This is before the show even happens. He's going to take you out to pizza.
Yeah, the show was a later show. It started around, I'm going to say, had to have started around like 8 or 7 o'clock. Actually, I have a picture from that night I can pull up.
Sure.
My guess, I'm going to say 7 or 8.
And how far was the pizza place from the actual venue where the concert was going to take place?
A couple blocks. I'm going to say like 5 blocks in New York. I know we were walking for a while, and we met up with his vocal coach,
Jennifer Hill.
Jennifer Hill, yes. We met up with Jennifer Hill. I don't believe at the time her daughter was with her, but her daughter was there at the concert as well. But at the time, I had only met her. So we were with her. We got pizza with her, him, and my mom and me. And, it was kind of just like small talk. Everybody was like chatting, nothing crazy, just like talking about general
Nothing
things.
that made you nervous. And Jennifer Hill has been on this program before to talk about her experience with Dahvie Vanity. And if anything, having her there, I would think would make everybody more comfortable because she was a legitimate voice coach who was legitimately trying to help Dahvie become some sort of a decent performer, right?
Yeah, no, she was very wonderful.
Very cool.
Super nice. Like it was at the time I would say that I felt open. Like I had started talking a little bit more.
You were comfortable.
Yeah, I felt comfortable. I didn't really think anything dubious or wrong. Just, my mom was there. But halfway through like getting pizza, he like started directly talking to me, not just talking in general to me or my mom, or me and mom, or all 3 of us. And he was like it was something small. I can't remember exactly, but it was like small talk, and it led to him asking to be my friend on Facebook. So he had told me that like he couldn't send me a friend request, that I had to send him a friend request, and then he had to accept it in order for him to be my friend on Facebook, because he had so many friends on Facebook. So
Were you flattered by this when he asked you to be his friend on Facebook?
At first it felt a little forced because I had only just met him, but you know, I was okay with it. I'm like, it's just Facebook. It's nothing crazy. It's not like it's, you know, my phone number or anything crazy. So I gave, like, he like took my phone and he Googled himself on my Facebook and sent himself a friend request. He
He
accepted
actually
it.
did that on your phone, then he accepted it, and then you were friends on Facebook.
Yeah, just, I don't know. I guess he wanted to make it a little faster. But he did that. That was kind of the first thing where he started like being more direct towards me and talking directly towards me. After that, he kind of like started walking closer to me. He was like, Jennifer Hill was on this side, then my mom was, or no. Jennifer Hill and my mom were side by side, and then he was like next to my mom, and I was on the other side of him.
Got it.
So
you go back to the concert venue.
Yes, we started walking back to the concert venue. And then we met Jennifer's daughter. I don't remember her name, unfortunately, because I really wasn't like talking with her much. But like she was there and her friend was there. The concert starts. We had talked beforehand. Nothing like crazy. We were just like talking, small talk, nothing really memorable. But the concert started, and this was my first concert experience. I was very nervous, so I kind of just stayed in the back because it was really anxiety inducing, because there were people like jumping up and down, and people were holding drinks and spilling drinks. It was like, and it was a small venue. Webster Hall is very tiny.
There was a lot of people jammed in for this particular show. I remember getting talked into taking my then 14-year-old son to a Misfits remnants of Ramones concert in Hartford, and it was really tight that way. You know,
yeah,
it was in a club setting like that too.
Yeah, it was tiny, and plus there's a bar there, so there's people that are drinking.
Safe setup, right?
So during the show, everything seemed normal.
How was the show? Were you entertained by it? Did you like it?
At the time, yeah, like it was like a new experience.
Sure.
I would say that though the only thing was I felt a little unimpressed. Only because like I was expecting I guess him to perform a little bit better, but like, you know, it's happens with live shows.
So the show wraps up, and then what happens after the concert? Do you go backstage again?
So basically, he gets off stage, and we don't see him for a while. We were just like talking with other people. I was talking with other people that were interested in the band, and they were talking about how this was like their like 8th concert, and that like they were devoted fans. I'm like, oh, that's insane. And then he walks over to me and my mom, and he's like, "Hey guys, like, how are you guys doing? Did you guys enjoy the show? Did you guys have fun? Are you guys like, are you having fun?" And I remember he like went like this towards me. At this time, I also met Odie and Felicia. They were there as well.
Right.
Yes.
So how does that wrap up? How do you hang out some more, or what happens after that?
So I don't know what led up to it, but he had asked us if we wanted to hang out like in the green room, or maybe we just followed him there or something. But we ended up in the green room. It's kind of like this side room. It's like right behind the bar. It's kind of strange. There's like, you walk into the room and it's another bar within the bar. But we were
And
talking. We sat on
what was the vibe in the green room? What happened there?
same thing, friendly. Talking about interests. We started talking about like movies. My mom was talking about his tattoos at one point. I remember that. But one thing started happening. He, like, I guess he was just being playful, but he started winking at me, like, like not a crazy like ah, thing, but just like from the side, just like a thing that I noticed he was doing, and it was like like it seemed like a seductive wink, nothing like super crazy, but
He was
definitely.
clearly flirting, and you knew that even at your young age.
Yeah, I was a little taken back by it, but I didn't really think much of it. I kind of just thought he was being like silly. Um, but we ended up like sitting on the couch, me, my mom, and Dahvie. I'm not sure where Jennifer was at this point. I can't. I think she might have been like out there just talking. But me, my mom, and Dahvie, we were sitting on the couch, and I remember he had mentioned how great we were, and that he didn't want to lose touch with us. So he asked if he could have me and my mother's phone. So we just like gave our phone numbers. I gave him mine, and my mom gave him hers, and
Did he ask for your phone number, or how did that work?
he asked like for both of ours.
He wanted both your phone number and your mom's phone number.
Yes, he
What
wanted
was
it like he asked both of us at the same time. So like it was bluntly in front of her, and I really like since my mom said yes, I figured it was okay. So I gave my phone number and I put it in his phone, and I remember I put a little bunny emoji next to it. um, but after that, we leave the green room and we just start like, we're just hanging out, like in the actual venue area, just talking to people. My mom got like, I think she got like a drink from the bar, and then my mom at one point had disappeared with Dahvie, and then I was hanging out with like somebody. I don't remember who it was, but I was just hanging out with somebody else at the concert, and they like disappeared, and I didn't know where they went, but then they came back, and my mom had said that it was getting late. I think around this time it was like 10:30 at night, and it was like another like 45 minutes to get back to where I was going. So like
Did
to
you
wrap it up,
did you know where your mom and Dahvie went? They're just off
see,
someplace.
I don't know where they went exactly in the venue, but I think what had happened was they just like had a little heart to heart. But I did find some pictures on my mom's phone like later. Like she took a picture of them, like they were both like holding drinks, and then he kissed her on the cheek.
So
I thought,
relatively innocent stuff. They were just kind of hanging out. And
yeah, I think that they were just having a heart to heart because
yeah.
it seemed like he was mostly talking to my mom. Um, and he was kind of like he was calling her hot, like not like like saying
So
that she was attractive.
he was both
Um,
flirting with your mom and flirting with you at the same time.
yeah, but he was doing it more subtle with me. He wasn't bluntly doing it. But like it also wasn't I didn't think it was flirting at all because he
Right.
was mostly talking to my mother and my mother was mostly talking. She tends to do that.
Right.
Where she like we're in situations.
And so everybody swaps phone numbers, and you and your mom take off. 10:30 or so at night, you get to where you're going to your relative's house. How soon after that until you heard again from Dahvie?
I'm gonna say at 12 p.m.
12 p.m. You leave
12
the
12
12
a.m.
a.m. I'm sorry, 12 a.m.
12 a.m.
You
the same
leave at like
night.
10:30, something like that, and barely 90 minutes later, your mom drops you off at your cousin's house or your relative's house.
I was staying with my grandparents.
Your grandparents, right? Okay. And Dahvie texts you?
Yeah, I remember it was like very caring. he asked if we got home safe. He said he just wanted to make sure we got home safe, and that it was great meeting us. And I was like, yeah, it was great meeting you too. And I sent him a meme, and we just started talking a little bit more. Like he was saying like that I was super funny, and he called me the meme queen. And then he like just randomly asked me if he could call me.
Call you
So
that night, that first night.
yeah, like talk on the phone, like just I was like kind of, I was like, it's a little late, but it's okay, like that's fine, like sure, why not? I mean, like him and I didn't really get to talk a lot, but when we did, like we did connect a little bit, but nothing like
Did you
crazy.
think it was weird that a grown man wanted to call a 15-year-old girl that late
You
at night?
know, at the time, I don't think I was really thinking about that. At the time, I kind of just saw it as attention. Um, and I think the only thing that I would say, looking back, it's really strange.
Yeah.
But during that time, I felt like maybe, like, oh, maybe he just really likes me. I'm really cool. So I text him back and I said, yeah, I'm free. And he calls me.
And what
He's
did
like
you guys talk
asking,
about? What did you guys talk about in that phone call?
he was asking like where I was, and I told him I was at my relative house, what I was doing. I told him I was just like getting ready for bed, just winding down. Then he started talking about my school, like what year I was in school, if I was in high school, um, like what my favorite subject was. Um,
Did the conversation turn more personal at some point?
yes.
And
Um,
how did that happen? What did he say to you?
so it kind of was like very subtly snuck in there, but we were talking about something else, and I don't know how the situation turned into that he had asked me if I was a virgin.
He asked you if you were a virgin. 15 years
Yes.
old, had just met you that night at a concert, and he's already asking you if you were a virgin.
Yes, he had asked me if I was a virgin. And I'm very open, so like I told him, no, I'm not. Like, I was young when it happened. And I remember him saying, he's like, oh yeah, I was a late bloomer. He said that, and then he like told me that he lost his virginity at 19. So I was like, oh yeah, like that's kind of, that's not too old. But he like kind of noticed that I was getting uncomfortable, and then he started asking me about TV shows that I liked. So like we started talking about like anime.
Right.
So I was telling him about the anime that I liked, and then
How long did this conversation go on for, Winter?
this conversation went on for a good 2 hours. I'm gonna say
2
we were on the
hours.
yes, we were on the phone until almost 3 a.m.
And how did the call finally wrap up?
He said, like, oh yeah, it's getting late, I'm getting tired, and I was also like, yeah, I'm getting tired too. So he like said, good night, baby, I love you.
I
And
love
I
you.
was
He told you how many hours at this point? 6 hours, 8 hours maybe? And he
six
loved you?
hours, not even. And he said that, I remember that distinctly at the end of the call, is that he said, I love you, and I was like, okay. But he used that word a lot. Like, I feel like he said it to everybody. Like, just like, I love you, I love, like, all the time. Like, I feel like he said, like, I feel like he probably said that to my mom's boyfriend when he first met him. But I found it kind of weird. So
This
I
was
went to
like
bed.
you went to bed. This was October of 2016.
Yes,
almost
October
precisely
2016.
almost precisely 4 years ago. You go to bed. What's going through your mind when you close your eyes and go to sleep after all this happens?
My heart was pounding. Um, I really, at the time, I didn't really know how to think about it, and I couldn't tell if it was a good, like, it felt really rapid. Like, I was nervous. It felt almost like I was doing something wrong.
Did you feel like you were getting on a path that you almost couldn't turn back from? Otherwise, you'd embarrass yourself because you'd gotten into this, or he got you into this, or he lured you into this, I guess is the best way to put it.
I feel like I felt like maybe what was going on at the time wasn't really appropriate, and I didn't want to say anything because I really didn't want to seem like I was a buzzkill. And like I think I was also
You
like
were thinking like 15-year-olds think, is what you were thinking.
I really didn't have that many friends at the time, and I had just broken up with my boyfriend, so I guess that felt like it was kind of like a good way to open, like just get in there. And I was also at a really fragile state in my life. I had lost my father 3 years before,
Mm.
and I was just very emotional.
You were vulnerable.
I was in a very vulnerable state, especially at that time.
And how long until you heard from him again?
The next day,
The next day.
right
Text.
when he texted me a picture of where he was sleeping. And he said good morning. Like he did that a lot. He always texted me good morning. Said good morning. I sent another meme because I don't know how to talk to people.
Right.
I kind of talk in memes. But I sent him another meme, and he sent me the laughing emoji with the tongue like out, like the one where it's like the squint eye
Right.
thing. And we just had small talk. Like he asked what I was doing. I said I was making breakfast. I sent him a picture of the eggs, and then he said, "Can you send me a picture of you?" And so I sent him a selfie after I did my makeup, of course. I remember I sprinted. I'm like, I have to send him a picture where I don't look like crap.
And how long did this communication take place virtually every day?
Yeah, I can't honestly remember a day where I didn't talk to him.
Right.
It was daily and almost every day, every hour. Like,
And how long until he started asking you for explicit photos, for you to do things on camera for him?
it was kind of like, I'm gonna say 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
And what did he ask you, Winter, to do?
Well, first, it was kind of like the first instant where he was getting kind of sexual was he had mentioned a post that I posted on Instagram. And he sent me it at the same time. And he said that, like, my breasts looked nice. That, like, he wondered what size I was. And I wasn't really comfortable with that. So I was like, oh, that's funny. And then he asked if he could FaceTime me later in the day. At the time, I was at work, so um, I said yeah after work. So it was around. I got off work at 8. I'm gonna say he called me around 9:30.
And again, you're 15 at this time, so you're what, a sophomore in high school,
Yeah.
freshman, sophomore?
Yes, I was
So
a sophomore in high school.
So you're a sophomore in high school, and you're working, and you've got this rock star texting you with sexually suggestive messages.
It was very subtle. It really it. I kind of felt like I knew that there were times where they were definitely sexually driven, and I feel like I kind of played into them. Like, I remember I sent a heart after one of them, and I feel like that kind of. I don't know why I did.
Well, you're 15. You can't blame yourself for this sort of thing. I mean, you're overwhelmed. You're vulnerable. You're emotional. I know you know this intellectually, but it's got to be. I know it's painful to go back through this. I think it's important for people to know, how this guy operated. Um, but you can't go back and blame yourself for it. I mean, there's a reason why adults are not allowed to do this to children, and that's
Yeah.
because you're not emotionally capable of making those decisions. And clearly, he knew that in so many instances. But and it's flattering too.
I would definitely say that that was one thing.
Yeah.
He was very charming in a way. I felt like there were times where he could say things and I would just do them because of the way that he said them to me. It's kind of almost like he made it sound like it was my idea.
And what did he ask you to do?
So we started FaceTiming. He asked me how work was. But soon after the call started, he started talking about my outfit. He mentioned my top, and he said that he would like to see what was underneath of it. So I was like, yeah, and like, it was like, oh, I bet you do. And then he like said, show me. So
I know this is difficult.
So I took off my shirt. And then he asked what size my bra was, so I told him, and then he asked me to show him by taking off my bra and showing the tag. So I did, and I showed him the tag, and then he asked me to suck on my fingers and play with myself a little bit, and then he started touching himself on camera, and I was kind of just, at the time, I didn't really know what to do. I hadn't really had much.
Well, you're a child. I mean,
The one thing I remember is just the way he was looking at me. It was so strange. And I was started to like, I didn't have the phone face towards my face. And then finally, he finished. And then I don't know what happened exactly, but he just shut the laptop.
so he coaxes you into doing this for him. He satisfies himself and then just shuts you right down. It was done.
Yeah.
End of call, end of conversation.
Yeah, it was just. I thought that
like he was discarding you. Okay, I'm finished with you now.
That's how I felt that maybe he was like just gonna block me after that. I was just really. I remember I was scared. I felt like I had just shown him my body, and I was really regretting my decision at that point.
I can understand that. I can understand how that would make you nervous. I can understand how you'd then be worried that if you didn't do what he said going forward, that he could somehow embarrass you with pictures or that video or something like that. I mean, you see this in the grooming process. That's how predators operate.
So A little bit later in the night, he had texted me and he told me that um, he at the time Odie and Felicia were they were staying with him. He was living in Ohio at the time. Um, but he said that they were like right outside the door and that he was sorry that he had to end it so quickly, and then he was like, I love you, baby. And then I told him, I said I was going to bed because I had school the next day.
Right. And so people know who are Odie and Felicia.
So they kind of ran his merchandise
Right.
business. I feel like most of his income came from that. But they like they sent out orders for t-shirts, and they kind of like managed orders, like answered emails. And he paid them to do that for him, but I don't think he really paid them.
How many times did he have you do this over the phone?
Well, there were times where it was on FaceTime, and then there were times that it was over a phone call where like he would ask me what I would do to him if I was there.
Did you ever tell him no?
You know,
And
I
that's
think I
not your
really,
that's not your responsibility for you to tell him no. You're a child. But
I
did it come to a point where he asked you to do something you just wouldn't do?
one time, um, it was like, I think he might have been drunk, but he was like, just come here now. Like, I'll pay for a flight right now. Like, and like, he's like, and then you can do whatever you want to me. And I said no. I, that's, I feel like that was the only time I said
After all these phone calls and all the things that he lured you into doing, when did you finally see him again face to face, and how did that come about? Okay, take your time. I know this is painful. I know it's tough to do.
no. Okay. Um, I'm gonna say
My heart just breaks for you, and I cannot tell
this
you how much I respect your strength for doing this as a young woman. Come forward and share
this
your story.
I'm gonna say this really didn't it really wasn't a long period of time that I had met him. And
Mhm.
I kind of feel that for myself.
Right.
Where I feel like I was moving way too fast and I shouldn't have been doing these things. And I
I know
know that, but
you can't blame yourself because you were a child at the time. You know?
I feel like
This
if
is
I
this
had
is
my
on
head in
him.
I feel like maybe I
You
should have had a little
can't
bit
blame
more
yourself though.
respect for myself, if that makes any sense. Because it's just I don't I just I really wish I knew why it continued, but I guess at the time it felt better than having nobody.
It
I
felt
felt like
better
I had
it
somebody.
felt it felt better than having nobody. Let me tell you something. We'll continue on the narrative in a minute here, but you talking and sharing this story and having potentially thousands of young women see this is going to prevent this from happening to somebody else.
I really hope so.
You have to, just realize that it has the potential for doing a lot of good, and it also is going to bring law enforcement one step closer to finally prosecuting this guy.
I know that. I know that's why I need to do this.
Very pretty for doing it, but you cannot blame yourself for this because it's just not your fault. There's a reason why these laws are in place. That makes it illegal for a guy to do that.
It was just
Child.
at the time it just felt like, it felt so natural, if that made any sense.
Well,
It just felt,
he was so practiced at doing it. He'd done it so many times. He knew exactly how to do it. He knew who to target, and he knew how to convince them to do stuff that, intellectually you knew better, but emotionally you were lured in.
okay.
So don't blame yourself for it. It's not your fault.
I'm trying not to, I try to tell myself that, but
I know, but
in the
that's
end,
the most important thing of anything I can do for you, besides encourage you to get therapy and be a listening ear, and it's to just realize this just isn't your fault, and you did nothing wrong here, and you just gotta know that, and know that look, you've gone beyond this. You have your own career now. You have your own thing going on. You're gonna get way past this and achieve things that this guy is never going to see, because he's going to be behind bars before too long, and you'll go live your life.
I feel like there's a part of me that's worried that that's not going to happen, but
Well,
I'm really hoping that I can do something so
well,
that he doesn't do this anymore, because I just can't explain how changed I am because of this man. I feel like things could have been a lot different for me, but I also see the good in the situation because I've really pushed forward with my life.
I know you have, and we've talked about that, in our conversations before doing the show. And, as somebody who knows the story, and somebody who's talked to you, and I know you've talked to Fallon Vendetta and some of the other people involved in this investigation, and I talked to a detective today who's going to reach out to you tomorrow. She's the real deal. She's going to help you, and she's going to build a case. She's committed, and the FBI in Orlando, the police in Orlando, Florida, Ohio, Colorado, now San Diego, everybody's going to be closing in on this guy, and there will be justice. I'm convinced of it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want to take a break? Are you okay?
No, I'm good. I can keep going.
Okay.
I can.
All right. Now, I don't want to take you to a level of detail that's going to be painful for you, so I'm going to let you kind of guide this next part of the conversation. But
okay,
you did.
I'm okay.
Okay, that's important, because we can take a break. We can come back and do this anytime you want. So you just tell me.
I'm good. I can go.
We talked about all the phone calls, all the things that he talked you into doing, convinced you to do, and then there came a time where he was going to actually have you in a video of his, right?
Yes.
You traveled to Ohio, wasn't it?
Yeah. He had asked my mother, and then he asked me if I wanted to be in a music video, and he said that he was this. It's it's crazy. It feels like it was so much longer, but it had only been not even a month since I had known him, and it felt so much different. I think it was just because every day, it was every day. Like every day we were talking. I guess that makes time feel like it's so much different. But he had asked me if I wanted to be in a music video, and then he would get to see me, and I said yes because I feel like at the time it was really exciting to be.
Why would you not want to be in a music video? I mean, who would jump at that?
I feel like a lot of people would, but
I think you're right. I know a lot of people would. Look, your mom was traveling with you. Fallon Vendetta, who's a good human being, was going to be in the video. There are other people around there, support people, and video people, to the level that he could make it look legit. Right?
Yeah, it seemed very well, it wasn't really like he had offered to pay us to do it all, and then he offered to pay for our plane tickets, but we would just have to pay for them in the meantime. That's what he said. So we paid for our plane tickets. I ended up researching like so many flights. I was trying to find the cheapest flight I could. I went on TripAdvisor and I found a two-way for $300, and I gave all the money I had to my mom, and then my mom paid for the rest. And we went to Ohio. Um, I remember texting him right before the plane took off. I said, I can't wait to see you. Um, and then he said that he's going to give me a big hug, and I'm like, okay. At the time, I didn't know this, but the other girl who was going to be there and Fallon were on the same flight.
They were on the
um,
same flight going out.
they were on the same flight. All of us were on the same flight. So we land, and me and my mom text him that we're here and we're waiting for him to come pick us up. He came to get us, I'm going to say an hour later.
An hour later, you spent your own money as a 15-year-old girl to fly out to be in this movie video after he had been grooming you for a period of weeks. And he couldn't even come up with the money. He couldn't even get there on time to come pick you up.
No.
That's a
And
despicable human being on so many levels.
I feel like, because he was just, this was his thing, though. He was always, like, never good with time. So we were waiting, and I saw Fallon and another girl, and they were, like, kind of close sitting. They were, like, sitting fairly close together. And I think that they were kind of just having a small conversation. But he finally came, and then we all realized that we were together. He was coming to pick all of us up at the same time, and we had no idea that the other one was going to be there, who was going to be there. So we all packed our things in the car, and we started moving to his house in Ohio. We were driving, everything seemed cool, like everybody introduced ourselves, and we get to his house, and the first thing he did was he turned some music on, which to me was kind of like, okay. And then he like introduced everybody.
He introduces you to everybody else. And what happens at the house after that?
Everybody kind of got a little bit more comfortable. Kind of like he got changed into some basketball shorts, like different ones, because he was already wearing some. And like everybody kind of put PJs on. But then like the adults, they started drinking. Like everybody kind of just started drinking. I was not drinking because my mom was there, and I wasn't really a drinker at all at that age anyway. I had a bad experience, so I didn't like alcohol. But he had tried to convince me to drink a few times. Like he said, like come into the kitchen, and he's like, come take a shot, and I'm like, oh, I'm okay, and then he was like, just do it, and I'm like, okay, just come hand it to me. I don't want to go there because I don't want my mom to look at me. And then like he just like forgot about that, and then the night carried on a little bit, and he had asked me to go help him bring some boxes to
Help
his
you
car.
bring some boxes.
Yeah, he wanted me to come help him bring some boxes out to his car. And I'm sorry. So I said, yeah, that's fine. It seemed like such a easy, like such an innocent request. Like nothing. I didn't really think anything of it. So we started bringing the boxes towards, like, we started bringing the boxes, like, he handed me a box. The way his house is it's kind of like, a mother-daughter. Like, there were neighbors that lived underneath of him.
Duplex. Yeah.
Yeah, like a sorry.
That's all right.
He had neighbors that lived underneath of him. And to get to his living room, there was a front door. So the front door, it was like a staircase. So when you first walk into the building, it would be a staircase that would lead directly to to his living room. So basically, where we left was the entrance that would lead to the beginning of the living room and the kind of like the porch. So we started walking down the stairs. These were very steep stairs. They were like very slanted. We started walking down, and it really caught me off guard. But he had grabbed my hair and started pushing my head towards his like, he started pushing my head down, and I used all of my might to get out of it. Because I didn't really, at the time, really didn't think, like, I didn't know. So I broke out of it, and he got really, like, what, we talked about this, like really, like, upset. And I'm like, my mom is right there. And, like, I was like, I'm like, it's like, like, and then he, like, huffed away and brought the boxes down. And then I brought the rest, and then we, like, awkwardly walked back up, and he, like, seemed kind of upset. And then my mom, like, I guess she, like, had some spider sense, but she was right outside the door with another girl, the other girl that was there with us.
Did your mom suspect that something had happened suspiciously?
She didn't say anything, but it was just, I guess she was just looking for us.
Right.
But
You've been gone long enough where she was maybe concerned.
Yeah, it was I don't know. I don't think that I told her that I was helping him bring the boxes downstairs.
Did you tell your mom what happened?
No, I didn't.
Were you afraid to?
I didn't want to cause any problems.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to, like, I know my mom really freaks out. I didn't want her to, like, call the police. So the night continues, and I started talking to the other girl that was there. I think her name was Danielle, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But we started talking. She was very drunk. Like, I remember I had to tell her to drink some water because she looked so sick. But we went into the room where he had set up this, like, inflatable bed for, I guess, one of us to sleep on. She ended up taking it. But we went into there, and, like, her and I were just, like, laying next to each other on this inflatable bed. We were just talking, and then she's like, "You know why you're here, right?"
You know why you're here, right?
Yeah. She said, like, she was, like, saying, because, he wants to have sex with you. And I was like, no, that's, like, I really, like, I didn't want to tell her the truth of what was, like, happening, but I was like, no, he's a good guy. Like, I really got defensive. I told, like, I'm like, no, that's not the case. And, like, and then she's like, but, like, why do you think you're here then? Like, he's like, is she, like, started, like, kind of saying things that made sense, and I was kind of just shutting down.
Right. Well, you didn't want to admit it to yourself, probably.
Yeah. So I walked out of the room, and I was like, oh, you're drunk. That's what I said to her. And then I walked into the room, and I walked into the living room where Dahvie, Fallon, and my mom were. And I just sat on the couch, and I had texted him, and I said, like, I said that I would, like, text him later and to have his phone next to him. And then he texted, okay. I'm gonna say we ended up going to bed around like 12. He set up like another mattress in the living room for us to sleep on, and at I'm gonna say like 3 in the morning, I texted him because I couldn't sleep. I was just like, it was really, I was just I was just thinking about it, about what she said, and I told him what she had said to me, and then he said, "Don't worry, you're fine, you're safe here. Like nothing's gonna happen to you."
You're
And then
safe here.
yeah, kind of like she's just crazy. Um, but he said he'll take care of it. And then I ended up falling asleep after that. And when I woke up, um, Fallon and Dahvie were already awake, but I could tell that something was happening. But Danielle was kind of like sitting on the bed in the room that she was staying in, and she was like kind of sobbing, and I was a little upset about this.
And why was she sobbing, Danielle?
So he actually had Fallon pay for a ticket to send her home. So because I said that, like, it was because I had said that.
So she goes.
She left the same day. They got her a train ticket. She didn't really say much up. Like, she didn't say much to me. I remember I went into the room and I put my bags in there because that's where me and my mom were going to be sleeping. And she's like, "Can I help you?" Like, she got like really like totally different person in the morning.
So she was mad at you for telling Dahvie what had happened, and she was trying to warn you.
Yeah, I think that was the case.
So Dahvie ships Danielle off.
Yeah, like same, literally. Right after she got off a plane, now she's getting back on a bus to wherever she came from. Like, it was that instant.
Was he also trying to get involved with Danielle?
Yes. While she was also drunk, she, like, in that conversation, she had said that they were having relations.
So Danielle is there. She's having relationships with Dahvie.
Yes.
Alan is there, and
also having
they're supposed to be
a
boyfriend girlfriend, and he's hitting on you, trying to seduce you, sexually assault you at the same time. What does that say about Dahvie?
I say it's really sad because he's putting so many people in danger. Like, you don't know, like, somebody could have HIV, like, if it, like, not that like anybody did there, but like if he's getting involved with so many people at once, it's kind of like it's not fair because he's not even telling the partners about it.
Notwithstanding the fact that when it comes to you, at least because of your age, it was criminal. It's sexual assault.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I did.
I'm sorry.
At the time, it seemed like everything was gonna be okay, and I didn't really think much of it.
You were just trying to move through it, get to the next phase of the trip.
Yeah. But
did you actually shoot the video?
We did shoot the video, but
and in the video, you played the daughter of Fallon and Dahvie, correct?
Yes.
Looking back, how odd is that?
It's really, it hurts actually a lot. When just before the video was even shot, it was really hard.
Did he come after you again before the video was shot, or was that after the video?
It was before. We were there. We weren't there during the whole thing. It was shot within a few days, a couple of days, but it was still early in the morning.
And what happened? What did he do to you?
I don't. So I think Fallon and my mom were having like they were just talking. I don't know if they were on the porch or in the living room or something, but I remember I ended up sitting with him while he was doing his makeup, just watching him do his makeup, and he grabbed his laundry basket in the middle of everything, and he's like, "Can you come help me do the laundry? Like, come bring this downstairs with me." I'm like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, I didn't really think, I really did not. So we ended up going through the back door. He had two entrances. One was like the side door, and that also led to like another set of stairs where you would go down one and then another, and then it would be a door, and then the basement. And in the basement there was like it was like a shared laundry room and a shared basement type thing where like it was
Right.
his neighbor's washing machine, and then in the next room it was his washing machine and his clothes and everything. We get into his little laundry area, and then we started doing the laundry. We put it all in, but on the way out, he pushed me down, and 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 then he pulled his pants down, and I just didn't know what to do. He grabbed the back of my head, and I didn't know what to do at that point. I felt like I felt like I had talked about it, and I didn't want to. I guess I didn't want to disappoint him, or I felt like I would be, and then it wasn't long. It was just a couple. It was like it felt like 2 minutes maybe. He was done, and then he like pushed me off of him, and then he said, "I'm gonna go up first, and then wait a little bit, and then you come up back up to the house." And then he left, and he went upstairs.
How did that make you feel, Winter?
Inhuman, to be honest. I felt I felt gross. I
Used
felt like it
again.
felt like
I can't say this enough. This isn't your fault. You're the victim here.
I just feel like I could have done something.
It's he's the adult in this situation. You're the child. You know, it's that's why the laws are the way they are. You have to not blame yourself because it's not your fault.
I think that maybe I should have been smarter. I should have known better.
I know, but again, Winter, you're a child.
It's just everything plays back into my head, and I just feel like I'm there again sometimes when I talk about it.
Let's move out of that space so you can get past it a little bit here.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. There's nothing for you to be sorry about. I mean, Dahvie's willing to be sorry. I feel horrible that you're going back through this, but I do know that it's going to help prosecute him. And I do know that you're extraordinarily brave for reliving this. So let's move past that particular part of this. how much longer are you actually at the house in Ohio? You shoot the video. I mean, that whole thing just had to be so weird after this happening, and then you got to go on as if nothing was wrong.
We were there for 3 days. It was just, it just like he acted like everything was normal.
Like
And
nothing happened.
I remember we went back down to the basement, like when everything was being like set up down there for the set, and he like kissed me, and then he like touched me, and he was talking about how he's gonna see me again soon, and it was the last day that I was gonna be there for the video, and he was talking about how he's gonna see me soon, and try not to think about it, and then
did that sort of normalize that to you, in that, okay, well, this is horrible, this is not the way I wanted it to go down, but I'll see him again? Did that sort of get you through it?
I just kind of felt, I don't know how, like I felt like he was trying to, like, almost, it felt like he was like being romantic sometimes, and then other times it kind of felt like he was trying to be like in a relationship with me.
It had to be so confusing at that age, though. I mean, nobody should have to go through that.
Yeah.
And that's why it's criminal.
When I was there, it just, I remember really just kind of shutting it out and just continuing on with everything.
Did you say anything to your mom? Did you?
No, I didn't, because I didn't want to get in trouble. And I felt like now, if I said anything, I would really get in trouble.
Well, you saw what happened to Danielle.
Yeah, I also didn't want to
cause a problem.
I didn't want to. It was also, there were just so many people there. There were so many people at his house at that time. There were people that were there during the music video. There were like camera people. It was just really stressful, and I didn't like. I'm really mild mannered, and I don't like to cause a scene. I don't really talk about things.
So you finally get out of there. You go home. It's okay. It's all right.
Just.
Do you want to take a break?
No, I'm okay. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize ever to me. Do not apologize.
We got home, and I remember he texted me when we got off the plane. It was almost instant again. He texted me when I got off the plane, and he said, "I miss you already." And then he called me, like he said that he loved me, and that he wishes that I was still there. And then he texted me a picture because I had left something there. I forgot what it was, but I just told him to throw it out. Because I didn't really. I was like, it's just going to be a long time before I see you guys again. So I just, but we started talking again. Like, it kind of just went back to the way it was before I got there.
And the texts, and you've shared some of them with me, and we've looked at them. He continues to groom you into a relationship that goes on for many more months?
It went on. It was just for such. I felt like it was such a short amount of time at first, but I felt like everything was moving so fast.
This went
I
on
feel like
from the age of 15 to really the age of 19 by the time you broke away from him, right?
no, it was the age of 18.
Age of 18.
Yeah. It was a couple months after my 18th birthday, which was the last time that I had seen him.
What was it that finally made you say, I'm done. I got to get away from this guy?
Probably the trip that we took together.
Was that to Disney?
No, we had gone to Universal Studio. We had made plans months prior for me to come during my birthday, which was also kind of during spring break. So I had some time off from school, which I was about to graduate from, and I had asked my job if I could use some of my paid time off at the time. So they said, yeah, that's fine, and of course, and I told them what days, and I got paid for those days that I was gone. I was there from the 22nd to the 26th. And I feel like that trip was really an eye-opener for me because I kind of saw him in a different setting where it wasn't with other people. It was just me and him.
An eye opener in a good way or an eye opener in a bad way?
Probably in, I think, a good way, in a sense, because I finally realized that it was time to stop this. Because it was time for this to end and that this can't keep going.
He was using you on every level.
I I spent $1,000.
You spent $1,000.
I spent $1,000 throughout that entire trip. And at the time, that was a lot of money because I was only working part-time and I was also paying for my phone. I was giving some money to my mom. And I was just trying to, I really always wanted to make my own money when I was just like, so this was a lot of money to me. I had paid, because it was during spring break, I had paid $400 for plane tickets.
This was down to Florida.
Yes, it was to come down to Florida. Originally, the plan was that I was going to stay with my grandfather for a day, and then he was going to come pick me up. But my grandfather he had gotten sick. He, at the time, had cancer, but he didn't realize that he was going to the ER. And then he just said, no, just don't. It's okay. I'll be okay. Like, don't come. I don't want you to see me. Like, my grandfather said that, like, he couldn't come get me and that, like, it's okay, but, like, he'll try to see me later. And I'm like, okay. So when I told Dahvie this, he was like, well, I don't know what you're going to do for the first 2 days. We're not really going to have a place to stay. I was, like, really nervous because everything was planned and everything was supposed to be fine, but because he had paid for the hotel at the time, so that was his jurisdiction. He was trying to figure out that, but I remember what had happened was there was a storm that was coming from Orlando, and they ended up having to cancel my plane. So I was getting even more nervous because I had just spent $400 and they canceled my flight. So we went to the airport and like we ended up getting a refund. I had the money refunded back to my account. Then I was thinking like drastic measures. I I said, well, everything's in place because he was mentioning the hotel room. So I said, well, everything's in place already. I just need to find a way to get down there. So I had looked up what I could do, and I ended up getting a Greyhound bus that would definitely be fine. So I ended up paying $200 for a Greyhound ticket, straight through to Florida with like minimal stops. And it was a 25-hour bus ride.
25-hour bus ride. And
Yeah,
you're paying your own way to go see this guy, Dahvie.
yeah. I was paying everything to get there, and it was very, it was just a really stressful situation. It was also my first time traveling alone. I I told him that like I was nervous about it, but like I'll be okay and I can do this. And I remember I took some pictures with my mom and her boyfriend before I left. And then I headed to Florida. The bus ride, I'm gonna say, was really brutal for me because I was alone. And I was like sitting next to a complete stranger.
25 hours.
Yes. It was a whole day, which I ended up getting. I left on the 20th, like late at night. It was like a really late leaving bus, but I know that I ended up getting there on the 22nd. And I got there at 9 a.m. on the 22nd. We had been talking throughout the entire bus ride. I was like telling him how I was upset. I had called him a few times during like times where we had to stop. And he was just like telling me that he can't wait to see me and it's gonna be all worth it. Don't worry, it's gonna be over soon. And I got to the Greyhound station in Florida, and I was waiting for him again. It was 9 a.m. that I had got there sharp. I texted him that I was there, and he said that he's on his way. And I was like, okay, it can't be that long. He didn't end up getting me until 11 in the morning.
Wait a minute. After 25 hours on a bus, sitting next to a stranger, going to see Dahvie, you get in at 9 a.m. and he can't come get you for 2 more hours?
Yeah. I don't know what was the issue, if anything. He got there and he wasn't like wearing makeup or anything. So like I don't think he did his makeup, but and I don't think it was a far drive either because we got to like after he came to I asked him like what happened. He's like it was just I was getting ready. I'm like okay.
And where was he living at the time, with his mother?
He was living with his mother at the time.
All right, so you couldn't stay there. So now you've got to be in a hotel that he was supposed to take care of. Is that what happened?
Well, what ended up happening was because I was supposed to stay with my grandfather at this point.
Right.
Um, but I couldn't, so I had nowhere to stay. We went to his house just for a little bit to try to recoup and like just figure out what the situation was gonna be. And nobody was home at the time. It was just me and him there, and he was like showing me all those things. He's very narcissistic. He
Yeah.
has like a
So
specific spot where he switches backgrounds and he takes pictures of himself at his parents' house. And it's like he bought these like things and it's like specifically just to take selfies for. He was like showing me around and we were walking through the living room and he was like I was like petting his cat at the time and his mother walked through the door because she had gotten home early or something. I guess she was out doing errands, but he wasn't expecting her to get home so early. And, you know, like, she kind of looked at him with this really stern look and just like she said hi to me. She was really nice to me. But then basically like she like said like come over here like and then they like started like arguing and like they were speaking Spanish, so I didn't really understand. I don't speak Spanish, but I remember I walked out of the house into the front yard because I didn't really know what to do at that point. So I walked into the yard and I was just waiting, and then he's like, "It's okay, we're gonna go somewhere else. Like we're just gonna drive around. We can't be here right now." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And
Did you
so
ever
we
find
get
out, was his mother upset because you were there and you were young,
it's just
clearly?
he wasn't supposed to have people over at all. That was the thing, because recently he had Tessa Tessa Jordan over,
Right.
and apparently she like did something, and I mean I don't know what happened exactly, but she's
There was
like
a
after
problem with the previous
yeah
family.
after that like she said no more guests, like no people over, no girls over, like nothing, like kind of she this is what his mother said to him, and then I came over anyway, and I guess she just got really upset, so she like I don't know what happened after that or what the conversation was about. I can only guess it was about me being there. So
How
we
long did you stay down there on that trip?
I left on my birthday. So from the 22nd to the 22nd to the 26th.
So 4 days. And how was that? Was it difficult the whole time?
There was just so much going on at once during that trip. It was an absolute disaster. I when I didn't have a place to stay, I was really freaking out because at the time I had just spent $500 in like fees to get there, and I was like I didn't have that much money because I was waiting for the refund for the I
Plane
was waiting
ticket.
for the plane ticket. I was waiting for that to come through. So I was charging everything on my credit card. I had a student credit card at the time, so anything I needed, I just charged it on the card because I didn't want to, like, because I just felt like if I didn't, it would have been, like, I didn't want to seem like I couldn't take care of myself. So I started paying for everything by myself, and then it was like, we hung out throughout the day, we got lunch, and then it was like getting late, like a lot later, and basically he was like, "We need to figure out a place where you can stay tonight." And I'm like, "Okay." Like, I'm like, I didn't want to say anything, but I was like, "Can you help me with that?" And then he's like, you can," like, he's like, "I spent so much money on the hotel room."
Oh,
He's like, "I can't really right now." And he was like talking about how he's so broke. So I like found the cheapest hotel I could. It was $50 a night in Orlando. I don't remember what it was called exactly, but it was in the same general area. So so I we went there. It was it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, I know that there's probably worse situations and people have probably see
did he
worse.
stay there with you?
No, he didn't.
So you're stuck in a $50 a night hotel in Orlando by yourself. He doesn't even stay with you.
No, he didn't stay with me, and he just went back home to his mom's house, and it was I'm not I don't really like to complain, and I've grown up in hard situations. I understand that it's like not that like some people live in situations like where they have to stay at a motel and everything. I feel like that first night, I remember I felt so I felt so alone. I was like I had never like been to Orlando alone before, and like the last time that I was there was when I was like 8.
Why couldn't he stay with you?
Because he didn't like the way the hotel room was.
But it was okay for you to stay there, but he wouldn't stay with you.
No,
What
because
kind of a human being does? I mean, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, he sexually assaults you. He takes advantage of you. He's groomed you. You're down there on your own dime, and then he forces you to stay in this crap hotel by yourself at 18 years old, barely 18.
barely 17. And I remember the first night, like he was like talking about how he's gonna go home and like that he would have stayed with me if I had gotten the more expensive one that he had off. But he said that no, that one was gross. So I was kind of like, okay, I can't afford that. But I I remember I walked in and it's just like at first it didn't seem so bad. It was tiny, but it's okay. It was okay at first. It was really hot in the hotel room. There was no AC, and I couldn't get it to turn on. But he like went there with me for a little bit, and he like got changed, and then we went to dinner, and then I came back, and then he left again. But it was just I it wasn't clean. Like the sheets didn't look clean, and the bathroom was atrocious. Like I mean, I'm not like
He allowed you to stay there, though.
yeah, it was bad, and I was like staying there for a little bit. And I'm gonna sound like such a like a whiny, complaining person, but
No, you don't.
there there was a bug like on the bed, and it was a really big bug, and I thought it was a cockroach. So I pushed all the sheets off the bed, and I put like towels down in the bathtub, and I slept in the bathtub because
And
I just
when
I
you
don't
say
know.
sleep, I don't imagine you slept very well.
Not really. I just didn't want to. I felt so. It felt like things were crawling all over me, and I was really overwhelmed, and I was alone, and I had called him. I'm like, "There's a bug," and like I was crying, and he's like, "It's just a bug. It's like it's nothing." I'm like, "No, it's not this. I can't." And I was like telling him I can't do it, that I can't stay there, and he
What
just
kind
was
of a
like,
guy? What kind of a guy puts a young woman in that situation?
he said that like it's only for one night, and it'll be there in the morning.
But who does that?
I don't know.
What's that say about him?
It says that he doesn't have a good personality. I like I said, this really opened up a lot for me in realizing what kind of person he was because I knew that he didn't care about me. Like I thought that he did. Because it
Did
was
you?
just like I had known him for 4 years at that point, and I felt like I knew everything about him, and he knew everything about me. We were like we'd seen each other multiple times in person before that, and multiple times like it's just we did like it was just so much, and then even then it felt like it was different. And he had mentioned so many times, like once I'm out of school, that he can come see me and that we'll be together. And I just kept thinking about that. That really got me through for a lot of things in high school because he was all I had. I didn't have any friends. It was kind of just him. It got to the point where I had cut so many people off. And I really regret that.
And it all came down to this.
at that point, yes. That's how I felt. I felt like garbage. And I was staying in a dirty hotel, and at that point I just felt like I was at my lowest in life. I felt like I couldn't get any lower than that. Felt like if this is gonna, and I don't know. If I really just genuinely felt like garbage. I felt like helpless, and that I was like nothing at that point. I felt like I didn't have anybody, and I wasn't gonna call my mom. I didn't have anybody to talk to but him, and he just brushed it off. And I couldn't even call my brother. I really wanted to, but I didn't want to tell him what was happening. But I wake up, and it's a little bit later in the day. I woke up at like 11, like in the afternoon, and I guess he woke up around the same time, and he texted me, and he said that he was coming to get me. So I packed everything up immediately, and I started waiting outside because I didn't want to be in the room anymore. At this point, I hadn't taken a shower in like 2 days, and I felt really disgusting. I didn't want to shower there, and because I didn't have anything with me either. I think I brought like a small bottle of shampoo with me, and then because I was not a good packer at the time, but I told him that I needed to go to CVS, so we ended up going to CVS. I bought some shampoo and some sunscreen and conditioner, and then we went back, and we like went to Target. We like kind of ran errands. We went to the post office. It was kind of like things that he needed to do. But then he said that we were gonna go, like that he figured it out, and then we were gonna go stay with his friends for a night, just to like, until we can get to the hotel room that he had purchased.
And when did you finally get to the hotel room that he had purchased?
On the 24th.
And how was that?
It was a lot better than the last hotel. I'll say that. But it still wasn't like a great hotel like that. Like he made it seem like it was this awesome hotel that was like so expensive. It was like, one of those hotel rooms that have the heart-shaped bathtubs.
Right.
It was like one of those.
When did you decide, Winter, that was it? You were done. You weren't coming back to see him. You weren't going to continue this relationship anymore.
It's probably the last time that he touched me. Because he was driving me to the airport. We were like 2 hours away from the airport at the time from where my plane was taking off to leave, because I still had tickets for that, because that wasn't canceled. But I had just got off the phone with my brother and my mom, and they were all saying happy birthday. And they were asking me if I had a fun time, and I said yes. And then I told them what we did. I told them the good parts. I told them about how we went to Universal Studios. By the way, I paid for my own ticket for that too.
This is your birthday?
Yeah.
Your 18th birthday?
Yeah. It was my 18th birthday. That's why my parents let me go. The other times that I had seen him, I always told them that I was going to somebody else's house. I got off the phone with my family, and then while he was driving, he pushed my head down again. Like, it wasn't. It just felt so strange. And I just didn't. I felt like I didn't. I felt like if I just wanted to get it over with. I just wanted it to be over at that point. And he was done, and I sat up, and I remember I fixed my shirt, and then he asked me why I was so quiet, and I was like, I'm okay. I just need to be. I just need silence for a second. And it really felt like crying because I was like thinking, this is my birthday. This is my 18th birthday. I could have spent it with my family.
And instead, it's this with Dahvie, capping off 4 years of abuse.
I could have done so much more, and I was just thinking, I'm just never going to get that week of my life back. I'm never gonna get that day back, because in my memory, that day is totally ruined for me. The day that I became an adult just hurts so bad.
I'm so sorry, Winter.
I just feel like no matter what I do, I can't stop. All I remember is that I didn't do anything on my 19th birthday because I'm still hurting just thinking about my birthday.
You turned 19 just a short while ago.
Yeah. This past April.
And you couldn't even celebrate because of the horrible memory from your 18th birthday with Dahvie Vanity.
No. And there was COVID. It's just so much. I just couldn't think about it. I don't know. I just spent the day in bed. I just slept, and then that was it. I didn't want to do anything. And my family wanted to FaceTime me, and I said no. I just didn't want to talk to anybody.
Did you ever sit down with your mom and go through all this with her and tell her what happened with Dahvie? And
I just recently told her.
how did that go?
It's really hard.
Yeah, I bet.
I feel like having the conversation was difficult with her because no matter, she just really blames herself. But I told her not to, and that it's not her fault, and that she wouldn't have known. But I don't even know why. She asks me why, and I don't know why. I
Well,
don't know
why? There's only one person responsible here, and that's Dahvie Vanity, Jesus Torres. He's the criminal. He's the predator. He's the one who did this to you over and over again from the age of 15 to the age of 18.
I just feel like I wish that I had. I don't know why I never did.
It's not your fault. It's not your responsibility. It's his.
I just feel like when I started getting older, I thought that it was going to be more than just this friends with benefits thing. It just was always that. And there were always other people. And that was another thing that I saw during that trip. He was scrolling through his phone showing me something. It was like a logo for his band. I think it was over at that point. he had also he was taken off Spotify at that time, like during everything. So I also had to comfort him during that because
You had to comfort him?
yeah. I helped him write this big long thing to say to his fans while we were in a diner. And I just like, it was like, I just wanted to give up. Like, I was just really half assing everything because I didn't want to deal with that. This was supposed to be like a fun trip, but that kind of switched everything towards him. And then it was even worse when we went to go see his friends. I don't think that they were like actually his friends, and I think they might have been paying him to hang out with him or something. It was really strange. We get to their apartment. They were really nice people, don't get me wrong. They were really nice people. But they were kind of like treating him like a god, and they were like playing his music as he walked in and like talking most like into like having him tell stories about concerts and past experiences of concerts. They were both really nice people, but like really, really obsessed with him. Like continuously talking about him, like always like talking, and they were giving him like they were offering him weed and alcohol. They specifically bought particular alcohol for him because he has diabetes. So like they bought sugar-free alcohol for him to have, and I'm like, oh. And then they like he when we went there, he like said to me in the car, like, don't worry about paying for everything. They'll pay for everything. And I said, no, I'm not gonna let them pay for me. So like I used my credit card for everything because he wouldn't even pay for himself. He was using these people.
I mean, you know, we've heard a lot of very disturbing stories, criminal stories, abusive stories about Dahvie Vanity. This is right at the top, obviously. Did you ever talk to him again after that trip?
Yes.
And what was that conversation like?
When I finally cut him off, I'm gonna say it was 2 months after the trip. But like I had slowly stopped. I had slowly started like not talking to him, like not responding to him as often, and blaming it on work. Um,
You were trying to create a separation.
I really tried to distance myself a little bit, but I still talked to him because he was also still one of the only people I had to talk to. But I remember at the time I called my brother and I was like, and I had told him, he was the first person I told about what was happening. And I begged him, I'm like, please don't call the police. Like don't say anything. I was like, I really don't want to deal with this right now. And I'm like, I was saying he's gonna like look at the influence he has. Like what if he posts all this stuff and makes me look bad later in life? And like I'm like, he also has a video of me online in a music video that's like what if he adds my name to that music video so that pops up when you research my name? Like I just was spewing every variable into my head. But when I finally cut him off, it was very short. I remember I called him and I told him that I said I need to grow. And my therapist says that the only way to grow is to let go. So I told him that like I don't want to be friends anymore. And I don't want to contact him anymore. And then I said goodbye. And then I said I was sorry.
You apologized to him after
Yeah.
everything he did to you?
I didn't say anything about. And then the last thing that he said was, "Are you going to tell anybody about what happened?"
Are you going to tell anybody about what happened? Knowing that he committed sexual assault.
And then he's like, you promised that it was our little secret. And I'm like,
our little secret.
That was the thing that he said a lot. And like, he said that it was our secret, and that, like, after the first time that he did it to me, and all the times after, he always referred to it as doing laundry, because
because that's how he coaxed you into it the first time.
Yeah. But he was mentioning that, and then I started to get emotional. I said that I wouldn't tell anybody, and that, like, not to worry, and I wouldn't hurt him like that. And then he said, "Okay, I trust you." And then he said, once again, sorry that, like, he was, like, saying that sorry that it had to end like this, and that he loved me. And I was like, okay. And I hung up the phone.
And that was it. Did you ever hear from him again?
No, he didn't text me after that. I think that he knew. And I hadn't blocked his number or anything. I just cut it off. And but that was it. After that phone call, he just ceased all communication. He didn't stop following me on Instagram for a very long time, though. He was still, like, following me, like, and still friends with me on Facebook. And it took me a while to block him on everything. But he would, like, always, like, it was, like, the same thing. I always knew, like, he would always, like, it was just always, he was always looking at my things, and, like I would post on my story, and he would be, like, the first person to see it. It was, like, a constant thing, like, even when I first met him. But he was still doing that, and that's what really made me block him at that point.
He took 3 years out of your life.
I'm not gonna get any of that back. I'm not gonna get, like, I have a really hard time now. I have a hard time trusting people. I have a hard time I have a hard time in relationships now, because I use some of the tactics that he used on me on people. And I don't mean to. It just happened. It's like, whenever he was upset and, like, mad at me, I felt like I could get him to talk to me if I started being sexual. So that's what I did, and I feel like I still do that today sometimes, because this is something that I thought was normal at one point, and now it's just really hard to break through it. But I'm trying.
Do you continue to see a therapist, Winter?
Not currently. I lost my coverage a while ago.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, but I'm working on it.
Okay. The therapy you've had, I take it it's been very helpful for you.
Not particularly. I never really had help. Like, I've never really had a good experience with a therapist.
Hopefully we can change that for you.
I'll be okay. Honestly, it's just I didn't have any luck in grief counseling, and I didn't have any luck with assault counseling. So I feel like the best thing for me is to use what both gave me to build myself back up, so that I can find who I am again. I feel like now I'm doing a lot better because
That's good.
I've learned a lot about myself, because I feel like for so long I was trying to be someone I wasn't. I was trying to be perfect for somebody, and I felt like that was the only way for a long time. I remember I lost 20 pounds for him. I didn't eat as much because I knew that I needed to look okay for him.
If Dahvie is listening to this tonight, what do you say to him?
I'm not. I want him to know that he doesn't have power over me anymore. And that I know who I am, and I know that I still have worth. And I know my worth now. And I want him to know that what he's doing, he knows what he's doing. But he's still in denial that he's done nothing wrong. To this day, probably.
What punishment do you think he deserves?
That's not for me to decide. I don't think. I think that's for whatever this world brings to him and for the courts to decide. That's not my choice. Because if it were up to me, I would just say, walk a mile in my shoes today and live the situation that I had to go through when I was 15 and still trying to become a person. Just, I'm never gonna get those years back. And just those are years that you're really developing, and I feel like it's changed who I am as a person.
Can I tell you something? I've had the pleasure of getting to know you over the last couple of weeks, talking about doing this show, and now seeing you do it. You are an incredibly strong young lady, brave, resilient, and you know what? You're going to go accomplish great things. I know it.
Thank you.
I know you will.
I'm trying.
And we're here. I'm here, and I promise you that I will do everything in my power to help and to get justice in this case for you and the other survivors.
I just don't want this to happen to anybody else anymore. I feel like, because I know that it's still happening. I know that there's still people like me that hear the rumors but don't believe them or think that they're different.
And you heard the rumors at the time, obviously.
I did, but I thought that they weren't true, and that I was really mature. That's what I told myself.
Right. Well, just today, I had a conversation with a detective out on the West Coast who I know you're going to speak with in the next day or so. And I've had other conversations with other people in law enforcement, all committed to getting justice here. And it seems like it's taking a long time, and it's frustrating. I know to you, it's frustrating to the other survivors, it's frustrating to me. But I do get the sense that things are starting to happen now. And I promise you I'll see it through. To any other young woman who's out there who's communicating with Dahvie Vanity right now, what do you tell them?
Really evaluate the situation. Think about it. Think before you say, and understand that he is so much older than you. Unless you're the same age, in that case, still, do not associate with somebody like that. He is a master manipulator. and he will hit you no matter what age you are. Please, just all I can say is if you are currently associating with him, I know you're probably thinking, because you're probably on his side right now, you're probably saying, like, how fucked up this is that they're doing this to him, but, like, it's not. This is all true, and I think you know that.
All right, Winter. I cannot thank you enough for being here with us tonight. I appreciate it so much, you having the strength to come forward and tell the story. And I promise you I'll make sure that everybody who I can think of in law enforcement hears the story. Is there anything else you want people to know tonight?
Do not support him. Okay. Do not give him any more power than he has right now. Not that he has much, but don't.
All right. Promise me you'll take care of yourself.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for me.
Promise you.
I want everybody to understand.
Right. Well, we're going to stick with this till we get justice. I'm going to stick by you till we get justice, and everybody else. Okay. So you just take care of yourself, and I know it took a lot out of you to tell the story tonight, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So you take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, dear. I appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. Wow. You know, every time I speak to a survivor victim in this case, or the Onision case, or any other case that we've looked into, it just boggles my mind that human beings are out there who could do this, who could engage in this predator-like behavior. And it is not lost on law enforcement. I know that people are wondering when criminal charges are coming. I can tell you that I had a lengthy conversation today with a detective who I've talked to numerous times, who is going over all the interviews. I know the FBI, as we've discussed here in this program, is involved in Florida, police in Colorado and Ohio. But I do finally get the sense that there is some coordination taking place between these law enforcement agencies. And I feel that we're going to see some justice soon for Winter and for so many of the other survivors. So I'm thankful and hopeful for that. I'm humbled by the survivors who appear on the show. I'm humbled by Winter, who is brave enough to tell the story and to relate the devastation that Dahvie Vanity Jesus Torres wrought on her life on her 18th birthday, to the extent that she couldn't enjoy her 19th birthday because of what happened. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow night with our latest predator investigation from Michigan. We've had some of the videos up talking about what we did. That investigation will have a complete segment tomorrow night here on Have a Seat with Chris Hansen. Also important, but wow, I'm just blown away by tonight. So take care, stay safe, stay healthy in this challenging world, and remember, I'll be watching. See you tomorrow night.